Preparing for Holy Week with scripture readings and reflections.
Be with us, Lord, and have mercy.
A reading from the second letter of St. Paul to the Corinthians. Brothers and sisters, we are ambassadors for Christ, as if God were appealing through us. We implore you on behalf of Christ, be reconciled to God. For our sake he made him to be sin who did not know sin, so that we might become the righteousness of God in him. Working together then, we appeal to you not to receive the grace of God in vain, for he says, "In an acceptable time I heard you, and on the day of salvation I helped you." Behold, now is a very acceptable time. Behold, now is the day of salvation. The word of the Lord.
Be reconciled to God, St. Paul urges us. Do not receive the grace of God in vain. We receive the grace of God, the life of God at baptism, but we must make it active, make it real, make that powerful gift our own every day through prayer and by how we live our daily lives with our families and with our fellow workers and friends. Prayer nourishes our relationship with God. Friendship and love among us depends on being present to one another. Ojos que no ven, the saying goes, corazón que no siente. If someone is not present to us, that someone is not in our hearts. If we do not bring God into our daily lives, God will not be in our hearts. God will have no meaning in our lives. We cannot limit the presence of God to Sunday Mass. The Eucharist celebration is a special renewal of a relationship with God that has to be lived throughout the week. This is possible, St. Paul tells us, because for our sake, the Son of God became one of us, one among us, showing us how to live as he went about teaching and healing, and then dying for us, so that we can, in St. Paul's words, become the righteousness of God in him. This means that in and through Christ, our relationship with God can be restored and can flourish. And St. Paul adds, now is the acceptable time. Now is the day of salvation. Now, this Lent, is the time to come closer to God.
These Lenten scripture readings and reflections are looking forward to Holy Week, when we commemorate the death and resurrection of the Lord. Save the link or bookmark the page you received from the Faith Formation Office. Remember, join us every Wednesday and Friday.